Thanks for joining the Savvy Ladies Wednesday Wisdom webinar. I'm Maggie Montemuro, and I'm the Marketing Manager at Savvy Ladies. I would like to remind everyone that if you have any questions during the webinar, please type them into the chat box. If you're joining us by phone, you can email your question to info@savvyladies.org. Today's presenter is Anita R. Johnson, founder and owner of Money Wisdom for Women. Anita is committed to informing and educating her clients so they can make sound financial decisions. Anita hosts the radio show Anita Talks Money and is a contributor to Fox 40 News. Anita has also written 2 books, including Big Girls Don't Cry, Taking the Emotion Out of Finances. Thank you for being with us today, Anita, and let's get started.
Well, thank you for having me, and I'm excited about being here and having this topic. It's just really important topic, and one of the reasons why it's important is because women earn 77 cents to every man's dollar. Some ladies earn 67, and some earn 65 cents, depending on where you are culturally to every man's dollar. And there's a reason for that. There's several reasons for that. And so I want to be able to help women understand what they need to negotiate the salary. And if they need to negotiate a salary, what is it that they really, really need to negotiate? We should learn how to negotiate, and we should learn how to negotiate without emotion. Maybe a little emotion, maybe not, but to learn how to negotiate that right wage for us. Is it a salary that we need, or what is it that we really, really need? And so we're going to get right into the mission of this, and it's to provide a clear and concise and understanding of what women need to negotiate a right salary. Is it whether you're being offered a raise or whether you're going into a new position? What is it that you really want? How much money does it take for you to live? Do you need tuition reimbursements? Do you need child care or medical eye care? Health care. Does the job that you are actually applying for or the one you already have any of these benefits? Do they have a retirement program? These are some things that when you get ready to negotiate, or when you get ready to take a position, or when you get ready to ask for a raise, these are some of the things that you can ask for instead of money. So one of the things that I want to talk, the objective is, why should women negotiate? Women are different from men. When we negotiate, what should we negotiate for? Correcting, negotiating mistakes, and now after you have all this, you're on your way to negotiating a right wage, a fair salary, or some of the benefits that you even want, uh, that you actually want and that you need. Why should women negotiate? 30% of women negotiate their salaries compared to 46% of men. And one of the things is we want to get to our mindset, and these are some of the things that some ladies talk about, business owners talk about when we are talking about money and negotiating out of contracts and salaries, is that sometimes we don't feel like we deserve it, and so men think that they deserve it, so they do it. Now, some women are just afraid, and so they're afraid to ask for, or they don't know what their worth is. And so we want to make sure that you know that you are worth every penny that you ask for, every benefit that you ask for, everything that you ask for. Is this what I need, what I want? How is this working for me? Is this going to work? Am I a single parent with one or two children? How is this going to affect my legacy for the children? All of these are important things that you should be thinking about when you get ready to negotiate, and why you should negotiate. Consider these things. Consider all the things that you want. One of the things that you may want to think about as you're negotiating is how much money do you need for your living expenses. So one of the things that I usually tell women is Okay, you've been offered this job. Never say yes right at the moment. Say, I will think about it. Okay. Say, I will think about it. And you go home and you write up all your expenses that you need. That includes, if you have children, childcare, that includes any savings that you want, that includes any um, retirement benefits that you may want. Is there daycare? Do you want to go back to school? Is there any way of tuition reimbursement? Any of those things. So women are different from men because men think beyond the base pay, and that's what you want to do is you want to think beyond the base. Okay, you want to be more direct in what you want. And how do you be more direct? You're more direct because you say you have gone home and you said, these are the things that I need, and you put a dollar amount to it. You put a dollar amount. Now you know exactly what it is that you want. Now you know you've basically kind of taken the emotion out of it and you've put it on paper, you've written that down. But a lot of times this is what happens, it's happened to me as I own my own business and I'm trying to negotiate a contract. I'm so excited about getting a job or getting this contract until I say yes. But if we stop and think about it, we want to think about what is it that we need as a woman. Do we have one child, two children? Are we single or are we married? What is it that we need? Does it fit into our goals, our financial goals, or does it fit into any of our goals that we may have? Our retirement goals, if we're going to send our children to college, if we want to go back to college, recognize this is an opportunity to negotiate. When your salary comes up, when if you're living, I'm sorry, if you're working for someone and it's time for a raise, right? This is an opportunity for you to say, hey, this is what I've done for the company. This is what I've saved for the company. This is how much money I've earned for the company. I'm valuable to the company, and I think I deserve this amount, not a 2%, not a 3%, not a 4. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it is childcare, or maybe it is tuition reimbursement. But you have to recognize the opportunity to negotiate. There's always opportunity to negotiate. And sometimes we don't recognize the opportunities that we may have to negotiate. And we're so, because we're dealing with our families and dealing with things. And so those are the things we have to think about when we get ready to negotiate, whether it's a new job or whether it is a raise. What should you negotiate for? And here again, this is something that I talked about earlier. What should you negotiate for? You should negotiate for your salary. If you want a salary, non-salary benefits. Some of the non-salary benefits is exactly what we just talked about. Maybe vacation time, maybe childcare expenses, a servant's pay, a housing subsidy, uh, uh, tuition reimbursement, maybe a clothing allowance, depending on who you are. Flexible scaling. I'm sorry, flexible scheduling. Okay. Some of us have children. Some of us have young children that we may have to take to the doctor, or or they just at home for a minute. Maybe we want to spend the mornings with our children and work in the later afternoons, or maybe we may just want to work at home and be with our children at home, especially during those maybe uh, really delicate times, which is usually around the time when they first start going to school, and then again when they get to be getting right into that teenage time. Maybe we might want to be able to work at home because the landscape of working is actually changing, and it is where it may be uh, we may be working at home more often than we are now. For instance, earlier this last week, I actually attended a conference, and one of the things that the guy said in the conference is that the landscape of life basically is changing. Now, instead of hotels, we have Airbnb, or now that instead of taxis, we have Uber. And so We may be working from home more often. So this might be your opportunity to actually um, negotiate that if you have children, and you may not need the child care expenses. But if that happens, maybe you can do the child care expenses. Guaranteed service pay. So if something happens, you decide to leave the job, you get this package when you leave that job. What about retirement? Does your office offer retirement? Maybe they don't offer retirement, and you can actually start a retirement plan for yourself as well as everybody in the office. And it might be even more, it might be less expensive for the employer to offer a plan, that type of plan, as opposed to paying you more money. And so those are some of the things that you just might want to think about when you're preparing your notes. Make sure that you go in there with strong notes. Uh, Make sure you know what you have done for the company. If you are negotiating a raise, if you are coming into the company brand new, one of the things you may want to say to them is, "Hey, look, I know I can get this done within a certain amount of time. I know I can bring this much to your company, or I can bring this to your company. I can bring that to your company. Whatever it is that you think that you might be able to bring to the company, and say to them, I may take this lower wage at this particular time. I may do this, but when I prove myself at 3, 6, 9, 12 months, this is what I want to. This is what I want. Is it additional vacation time? Is it to work at home? Is it to tuition reimbursement? Is it a guaranteed house subsidies, or is it clothing allowances? Even you can even do transportation reimbursement. So think about that. So be prepared, be confident. Make sure you know that your skills, uh, or the skills that you have, or can be offered to the company, and that you know that you can do this. That you know you can do the job for this particular company, for your employer. Correcting negotiating mistakes, lack of preparation. We talked about that earlier. What do you need and want? What do you need? I want a 10% raise. I'm just saying out loud. I want a 10%, and the reason why I want a 10% because I have done A, B, and C for the company, and I think that I should get a raise. That includes a raise, or it includes tuition and reimbursement, or it includes daycare. It includes flexible scheduling. I keep saying scaling. Um, or I even want a better title. That's another thing you can negotiate. It's a better title. From whatever to whatever. Maybe instead of tech person, you want to say computer supervisor. I saw this wonderful commercial. I'm not sure if you guys have seen this commercial where this guy is saying, I depend on my tech guy. And he says, no, the tech guy says, no, I am the computer supervisor, blah, blah, blah. Had this long title name on it. But that's something that you can negotiate. You can negotiate a better title for yourself. So as you're doing your daily duties at your job, write down what you've done when you get ready to negotiate. Write down what you've done and see how that fits up against what your job description was when you first came into business. I mean, when you begin to work for this particular company. Write down that maybe, and then maybe you can get that title, and that will help you as if that's something that you want. So know what you want, be prepared, know your numbers, uh, have confidence, uh, know your skills, know exactly what you want to do, and how you want to do it. And those are all important things to know. Okay, so we've gotten a little bit too far here. Okay, so I think I missed a couple here. Well, I guess I didn't. I want to go back. Okay, what you want to negotiate for? Okay, let's see. So one of the things that I want to also talk about. Okay, so you recognize. Okay, so We got the home subsidies. We got all of those. Correcting our mistakes. We have to know what we want. We have to know what we want to do. We also have to understand how it works. Now, if you're going into a new job, you want to do as much research on the company as possible. Maybe you've done a little bit of research while you were getting ready for uh, the interview, but now that they have offered you this job with a certain amount of pay, you want to do a little bit more research on the company. You may want to ask the human resources department, do they have a benefit package? That's something that you probably be asked. You may have asked in the interview, but you also want to be able to say, okay, I know about the benefits package. This is what you offer. Maybe we can go ahead and do this, do a little bit more with this benefits package, do those type of things. So that's really important that you know and that you are ready for that. I really love the fact when women understand what they're doing, how what they're on their way, they know it, they're prepared, they got their numbers. I don't know if you want to do a long, drawn out presentation for somebody, but if that gets you what you need, then that gets you what you need. One thing that I've heard human resource department people talk about is that they have a budget too. And part of their budget says, we're going to offer A, B, and C to this person. And if they say okay, then that's fine. But they also have a budget where if you ask for certain things, ask for a salary increase or whatever it is that you're asking for, it's in their budget. They just don't tell you it's in their budget. So one of the things you want to make sure that you are familiar with is that you do your research on the company. And you can even ask if if you feel comfortable asking, and I would ask, what is your range? What is the range that you guys know would offer me for this job? And then you can go back and you can do your calculations. If you're married, is that fit into what you and your spouse have decided to do with your future? Like retirement, because that's a really big thing now. People are not saving enough and not uh, doing enough towards their retirement. And so you want to make sure when you are adding your numbers up, that's part of your savings, whether it's savings for college for your children or college for yourself, and for your retirement. Dump all that into the frying pan and cook that up and see what that is that you get. All right. And then you're going to be on your way. You're on your way. You are on your way. You're on your way when you get prepared. You know what it is that you want. You understand what it is that you want. Uh, you have actually sat down and you said, okay, this is what I do for the company. Now, this is for people who actually have worked for a company and they're getting ready to get a salary. I mean, an increase in their salary, a raise in their salary. I've done this for A, B, and C. I've done this. I understand this. Um, these are my skill sets, and these are the things that I want. This is what I've saved for the company, and these are the things that I want, whatever it might be. Okay, whether it's retirement or whatever it is. Now, if you are new to the company, you are saying to the company, "Hey, this is what I can do for the company. This is what I will do in 3 months. This is what I'll do in 6 months. This is what I'll do in 9 or 12." And if you need any references to that effect, then here are some references. And this is what I think I should get, whatever it is, whether it's salary or whether it's any kind of non-salary benefits. So all of those are very, very important. And I hope that you guys are out there and that you're listening and that you have questions because not every single person is the same. They may have. So I'm hoping that you guys have questions and that you're going to ask those questions at the end of this session because there's many more things that you can actually ask for. Maybe you have something in your mind that I, can I ask for this? So hopefully you have those questions ready for you. Oh, we're at the question side. Okay. Let me see. Where am I on my notes? I think that just might be what you need. So let's go back and recap. I want to go back to the very beginning and we want to recap. 30% of women negotiate their salaries compared to 46. We want that number to be up. Make sure that you know that you deserve to be asked. Know what your worth is. Okay, I'm worth such and such and such. Know that. Okay, know it. Be prepared to explain it to your when you're negotiating. Women negotiate different from men. Men see money as a tool. Women see money as security. Um, and I'm generalizing. All of you may not see that, but that's part of it. Negotiate beyond your base salary. Be more direct. Beyond your base, meaning go home, figure out what you need. Uh, do I need money for tuition reimbursement? Do I need money for childcare, housing subsidies, wardrobe reimbursements? What it is. Also recognize when there's an opportunity to negotiate. The opportunity to negotiate is when you are ready to get a new salary, a raise. You can negotiate a new title for yourself if that's important to you. Negotiate if you are actually getting into a new job. Figure out all the things that you need. Tell the company what you can do for them. Tell them that I can do this in so many months, and then I'll have. Then you can say, hey, if I prove myself at this, this is what I want at this time. This is what I want the following time. Recognize the opportunity to negotiate. Some of the things that you can negotiate again is a salary, non-salary benefits, additional vacation time, daycare expenses, a servant's pay, housing subsidies. We talked about this, a couple of times. Wardrobe allowances, a tuition reimbursement, and then you can also negotiate a package deal. You could put maybe daycare expenses in with additional vacation times or housing subsidy with wardrobes. What about or a flexible a schedule? Negotiate a package deal, not just one of these items, but maybe even a package deal. But the only way you're going to do that is that if you're prepared for that. You're going to sit down and you're going to figure those things out and you're going to prepare. What is it that I want? What is it that I think that I need? And how am I worth that? What is it that I'm worth? Always have confidence in yourself. Uh, the lack of negotiating skills. Now, if you need to have a coach, we're always here to coach you on negotiating skills to help you get through that. You may want to hire a coach to help you negotiate if you're afraid to negotiate. Um, there's tons of articles and books and things about negotiating. So pick one up and learn how to do that. And negotiation can be for anything. It's not just your salary, but it can be for anything. And then you're on your way. You're there. I'm excited about negotiating my salary today. I'm excited about negotiating my non-salary benefits. Be excited, be positive when you go into the room and try to negotiate with whomever it is that you need, the human resources or the person that's offering you the job. And we always remember that human resources or the company always has a budget. They say to you, we're going to offer you, 100 grand or 200 grand or whatever. And sometimes they even have the package in that, and maybe that's enough for you. But they always have a budget. They will offer you something, but they also been authorized to offer you other things if you ask for it. So you have to ask for it. One of the things that I find sometimes is that people just don't ask for it. They want it, they think they deserve it, but they're afraid to ask for it. And that's what you want to do. If it takes you to meditate about it, if it takes you to think on it for a couple of days, do that. Get the courage to do it. And that's what I want you to do. I want us as women to have the courage to ask for what we want. Be firm, be understanding, be prepared to I can do A, B, and C and ask for those things that you want. All right, we are at the question time. Um, any questions?
Thanks, Anita. I just want to remind everyone that if you have questions, you can type them into the chat or you can send us an email, info@savvyladies.org. And we had a question that came in, which is, I would like to negotiate my wage at my upcoming performance review, but I'm very nervous. I will prepare based on what I learned today, but how do I actually start the conversation with my boss?
Hmm. Wow, that's a great question. That is definitely a great question. Well, what you have to do, here's one of the things that I do, and it may sound a little kind of way out there. You know what you want, okay? You got it up. You've seen your performance. You know what your performance is. I would actually know what you want. First of all, how much money or what is it that you need? Non-benefit, non-salary benefits, and then imagine yourself asking that person what it is that you want. Imagine yourself, go into your quiet moment, ask yourself, what is it that I want? And visualize yourself asking this question, asking them for a raise, saying that I did this, this is what my performance record says. Uh, that's how you start it. You start visualizing, and once you visualize what it is that you're going to say, then the words come out. Practice. You're going to practice. The mirror, and then you're going to practice. Hey, Mr. Supervisor, Miss Supervisor, Miss Human Resources, whatever it is. Hey, this is what my performance says. This is what I've done for the company, and I would really like to see if I could get this A, B, and C. So I think that's important. Visualization is definitely important because if you can't see it, you can't do it. So you want to visualize it. You want to take some time and think about what you want to say and be firm. And if you're practicing it, and the more you practice, the more firmer you're going to be at it.
Okay, great. Thank you. Another question that came in is what would you say is an average salary increase in New York City?
Oh wow! Well, New York City is almost as like the Los Angeles area, kind of expensive to live in. Um, I'm not sure what the amount is. I would base it on, I would actually do a Google search and try to figure out what that is because of what's going on. Now you have to take into account your living expenses, and like I said earlier, any whatever if you have child care, if you have retirement, what about your commuting? Take into account those things and then maybe figure out what that percentage is. How I think the cost of living might be 2 to 3% per year. So whatever that cost of living and then what the cost of living in general is, and then actually see what the cost of living in New York City is. Because the cost of living in New York City is not the same as in Dallas, Texas, or someplace in Louisiana or something to that effect. So there's a basic cost of living and then there's a cost of living within your area. So find out what those two numbers are and then add whatever it is that you're looking to add to it. Is it money or is it transportation or is it daycare you're looking for, more time off? What is it that you're looking for? And then add that to that and then go from there.
Okay, thanks, Anita.
Mhm.
Another question is if men and women are different when it comes to negotiating, do you think I need to adjust my negotiating tactics if I'm negotiating with a male or a female boss?
Oh, wow. Good. That's a great question. I would say yes. Uh, I would say yes because we all think differently. So you're going to have the basic negotiating skills down, and the basic negotiating skills would be, um, this is what I've done for the company, or this is what I can do for the company. This is what I want, meaning how much money do you want, or what other non-salary benefits do you want? This is what I can save the company if you do this. Do I want to be at home with my children? Flexible scheduling. What is it do I want? So know what you want. I think within a male and a female boss, they want to know that you know what you're doing. Um, they're probably going to look at it differently either way, But if you know what you want and you're firm with what you want and what you've done for the company or what you can do for the company, I really don't think it's going to matter. They're both going to say yay or nay. They both have the power to say yes or no. But always a good relationship with the boss, and I mean a boss employee good relationship is good as well. So both of those are really good. So I would just make sure that I'm prepared to say those basic things to whether it's a female boss or whether it's a male boss.
Okay, great, thank you. Another question is, I'm just starting my career and I feel like I'm too young to negotiate because I
Mhm.
should really just be thankful that I found a job. Are there certain things that someone with little experience can do to negotiate?
That's a great question as well. Yes, you may be new in your work at work, but you also bring something to that company. So earlier when I talked about um, this is something you could say, hey, I can do this for the company within 3 months. I can do this with the company in 6, 9, or 12 months. Bring what you can bring to the company within those periods of time and say to them, when and if, not if, when I do this at this appointed time, and when I do this at this appointed time, I want to get this at this appointed time. And then you keep building on that. And that will get you not only that'll get you the experience that you need because now you're accountable to yourself. Not you're accountable to yourself as well as the boss, but you're accountable to yourself because now you have to do those things that you said that you want to do in order to get that salary. And again, here we want to visualize. I'm a big component of action boards, or vision boards, action boards. Put that on your action board. 3 months, 6 months, 12, 9 months, 12 months. This is what I'm going to do, and this is what I want. And you're going to meditate upon those. You're going to look on that. So yeah, you can still do that even if you have little experience. You can still make those things happen. But you have to visualize it. You have to know what you want. You have to have confidence in yourself and say, I'm going to do this and this at this particular time, and then that's what I want.
Okay, thanks. And this last question here is, what happens if they say no? Will
Hmm.
my position be jeopardized? Can you just talk a little bit about what happens if after you negotiate they come back and say no?
Well, that's a good question. I don't. I don't think. Here's my. I don't think people when people negotiate with me, when I'm negotiating with someone about something that I do, I don't look at that as unfavorable. I look at that as confidence. When I'm negotiating and they're negotiating between what I'm going to be doing and how much I'm going to get paid for, I look at that as an opportunity. Now, there has been time when I tried to negotiate and I've not gotten what I wanted. And I have still taken that client on at not the rate that I wanted to, but what I did is I had to prove myself to that person in order to get that. So in my mind, I'm saying, okay, you said no. All right. So this is what I'm going to do in the next 3 months or 6 months or whatever it is, mostly for me for 3 months. I'm going to prove myself to you that I can do that. And after 3 months, I'm going to come back to you and say, hey, I did this. Okay. I made this happen. And since I made this happen, I think that I deserve this. And then there you go with your negotiating. Always know when there's an opportunity. I think there was a previous slide about a negotiating opportunity. You negotiated, that didn't happen. Now you're going to say, okay, I got 3 months that I'm going to do something, and then I can come back and negotiate another negotiating opportunity.
Okay, great. Well, I want to thank you again, Anita, for a wonderful presentation. And I want to thank everyone who joined us today. We hope that you'll join us again next week for another webinar. And thank you again, Anita.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks. Bye bye.
Bye bye.